Are we ready to go?
Yep.
All right, let's did you guys see each other start? Welcome, everybody, to our board meeting here on September 9th, 2014. Beautiful day outside. Let's get started with our first order of business being the approval of minutes from our last meeting on August 26th. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Minutes are approved. Next order of business, the resolution supporting Brookside Soccer Club, resolution number 30286.
Yes, Commissioners, you have before you a resolution supporting the efforts and our great partnership with the Brookside Soccer Club. As the resolution indicates, we've been working with the Brookside Soccer Club for over 20 years, and primarily down here in the Swope Park facility. And as we're all looking forward to the grand opening of the new Swope Park Soccer Village this coming Friday evening, and then for many years to come, and we'll put in writing how important that partnership is to us to provide youth soccer within our community.
Fantastic. That's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the grand opening of the soccer village, as well as kids from all throughout Kansas City playing down there. It's a great project, and Brookside Soccer's been a great partner of ours, and we look forward to continuing that partnership. So, any questions, comments? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 30287.
Yes, Commissioner, this is a consideration of a memorandum of understanding with the Spray and Neuter Kansas City organization at our three dog parks, Swope Park, Penn Valley, and North Kansas City, which was recently opened. And this is about microchipping, and Forrest Decker is here to give you a little more detail and stand for questions.
Absolutely. Yes, we're recommending approval of this agreement with the not-for-profit Spay and Neuter Kansas City to provide microchipping services at our dog parks. Marlon is here from the not-for-profit group if you have any specific questions about the process of microchipping and the benefits and everything. I would defer to him. So.
Great. Is there any questions?
I have a question. Low cost is how many dollars?
$10.
Oh, wow.
Normally through a private vet clinic, it'll run you at least 70 to 100.
Yeah, okay. That's
And it's
great.
also free, unlimited registration, so you never ever have to pay again for the microchip company to keep up with your information and make sure it's current at all times.
Okay, so then the pet has a tag that then is the number that if it's found, then that's the database that they call.
Yes, with the organization that we're going through, they actually don't do the actual tags.
Oh.
Because the tags, just like with the rabies tag, a collar can come off, and if it's lost, it's no good. The microchip, which is, it'll be inserted into the to the pet, and then it'll still have the exact same information as it would if it had on the tag.
Okay.
On the collar.
And
I'm
it's
sorry.
registered with them, and you have that number, and then anybody that finds that dog and reads the number can call you and contact you.
Correct. Just any individual, normally, they wouldn't have a microchip scanner, but if the pet is found and taken to a local animal shelter or to an organization or a private vet clinic, it can be scanned, and it would basically, I kind of call it a social security number. We can put it into a database, we'll get all that owner's information, and then we're able to reunite the pet with the owner.
That's great.
It works. My dog is a runner, and it's worked once.
You guys located
We
on
have a
Truce?
believer.
We're located on 59th and Truce, yes.
Okay, my grandparents go to you all.
That's
Very
awesome.
pleased with your service.
Thank you so much.
Who's the service company that you use?
We go through Found Animals Microchip. It's actually a nonprofit also.
Okay.
And they provide the service. Like I said, we do the microchips for 10, and through them, you never have to pay any other dime. Some other microchip companies, they do require you to pay like a $50 or $80 charge each year to keep your information renewed and updated. They don't charge anything each year.
And the chip would be installed at your place, or?
It will be done. We could actually do it on location at a dog park, or we do them off-site all the time.
That's even greater.
So how does that work? So you're just going to be up there on site, and so when people come up there?
Yeah, we
you're
would pretty much just be
available to
on
do
site, and we will be available. You don't need a veterinarian to insert the microchip. You pretty much just need a trained staff member, which it would be me. And we just pretty much be set up with a booth, giving out information about spay and neuter and low-cost spaying and neutering, and then giving them information. If they're interested in getting the microchip, we could do it right then on site.
Can you let us know when that'll be so that we can put it on our park's website? or
Definitely.
email us
It's
spread the word?
kind of catchy right now because, it gets dark a lot. It's going to be getting dark a lot sooner, and we don't know how the weather will be. But we'll definitely try to, in advance, get as many dates out as
We
possible.
can tweet it and make sure that people know
Awesome.
about it.
That would be awesome.
That's good. I've had two dogs that have it. So
That's awesome.
that's good.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Good work.
Thank you. I'm always amazed at the things that grab the attention of the board.
I know.
I'm just saying, I'm always amazed, and all of a sudden, it's like 40, 50 questions, you know?
I'm an empty nester.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I'm always impressed with the fantastic questions I've worked on. Thank you very much for this great work. We look forward to the partnership. With that, can I ask for a resolution, an approval recommendation?
So moved.
All right, very
Second.
good. Thank you very much. Moved and seconded, and all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, very
We fought
good.
over it.
Yes, very good. Okay, on to the next, the presentation of the Washington Square Park
Yes,
plan.
Yay.
Excited.
Without any further ado, their uncle. And you'll probably introduce Doug, too.
That's a hard act to follow, that's what I'm telling you.
We've also got Doug Stockman here from the Green Space Committee from the Downtown Council and Colorado Architects.
Okay, that's good, that's all.
That's all I need to say. We've been working on this project for quite some time now. We've had what? Oh, sorry. We've had quite a thorough list of stakeholders. So we've been building a great team. So Union Station, KCATA, Downtown Council, Lathrop and Gage, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and those are some of our stakeholders we've been working with. We held a public meeting earlier this spring that was very well attended. We had students from the Kansas City Design Center who had some of their concepts presented, as well as Cohen and Partners, our consultant from Minneapolis. And at that meeting, we asked the citizens what they would like to do if they came to the park. So by dot voting, they were able to put a sticker on each of the items they liked to see. I think everyone had 3 options. And the public input came back and they really said they wanted flexible lawn space, trees, restaurant pavilions, tables and chairs, and walkways. Those were like the big items. And if they could do something at the park, that was another question we asked. So we had several items here.
If I could.
And some of the things they said were like farmers markets, beer gardens, wander through gardens, hear live music, were some of the items that came up. So looking at if they were there, they could do this, and they could do that with certain amenities. We started to look at what needs to go in the park. And they also looked at the context. So Washington Square Park is the little orange square right there, or triangle. And we're looking at different parks around the greater downtown area and really looking at the connections. So we've got Kessler Park and the Paseo, and we've got different parks around the downtown area. And then here's the greater downtown area, and there is the streetcar line. So that's also a great connector. And the park is also 3 minutes from downtown, 15-minute walk, or a 5-minute bike ride. So we're really starting to look at the connections to the Crossroad, to downtown, to Crown Center, and other amenities around the area. Looking at the site, Washington Square Park is this triangle right here. It's 5.4 acres. And then we got to looking at the parcel to the north, which is a large parking lot currently used by Blue Cross and Blue Shield, is about 5.1 acres. And the idea that 2 sites are triangular shaped, that kind of limits potential for development of each one. So we started to look at what if part of the park moved to the north and part of the development moved to the south. So there could be a potential land swap proposed. And then we also looked at that linear alignment. Walnut Street kind of lines up right here on the other side of the train tracks, so we're really looking at that axis. And the other research, we've looked at different parks around the country. So this is Bryant Park in New York City. And this one I think is, you know which one this is? I think this is Grand Park in Los Angeles. And one of the things that really popped out to us was the dimension through the center was about 250 feet for a lot of these successful parks around the country. So that was the dimension that we worked with for Washington Square Park. And here's another couple more. This is Discovery Green in Houston, which I think you guys have checked that one out recently.
That's great, fantastic.
And this is City Park in St. Louis. So taking that linear concept and the kind of eye-shaped and looking at Washington Square Park and some of those amenities, we're looking at a conceptual framework of how that connects to different areas. So you look at this axis here, the connection to Walnut. There's Grand Boulevard, how that kind of can work its way into the site. And then also Crown Center, Hospital Hill over here, and Penn Valley Park, of course, and Union Station. And after some of that research and analysis, we came up with 3 separate concepts. The first concept really looks at the topography of Kansas, the rolling Flint Hills, and bringing in some of those areas we talked about earlier, the performance lawn, gardens, a promenade, water feature, groves of trees, and art space. And by incorporating those into the site, we're able to come up with this concept, which shows development parcels here in these white squares. It's kind of hard to see. Of course, here's the Blue Cross and Blue Shield building, which stays. Some of the features of this one include a grove of trees. This is kind of a water feature area, which would have a very small amount of water that can be turned off, and so there could be events in that area. And also a very big lawn space that kind of looks back to downtown. So the area in the middle kind of moves up, and then you kind of ramp back downtown. One of the other parts of the project is the large hole, what is currently the parking lot. That would be filled in as a parking garage structure, and that is the same in all three concepts. The entrance stays the same, so we'd use the existing OK Street access. And here is a perspective of kind of that water feature on the south side. This is looking north. Here's Blue Cross over to the side. And this is kind of showing how this space kind of ramps up, and there could be maybe a coffee shop or something down below, or that could be the memorial. There's a bunch of different options for that idea. And then here is the performance lawn space. This is looking north. This is that Walnut Street axis. And so also a great opportunity for public art. And also different programmatic elements such as movies in the park and some of the other elements that people asked for in our open house. So those are like bosques of trees, water features, introducing art into the site, and then also looking at unique landforms. So this is a kind of an interesting building here that the roof is green. People are actually able to walk up on top. But then the bottom, there's a restaurant space down below. So it's really maximizing the use of that space. So here's a couple more examples. I think this is the High Line, or this might be Laurie Park and Millennium Park right here, so bringing in gardens, a great tree canopy. The second concept is looking at the river and the confluence of the Kansas and the Missouri rivers. And also a lot of the same elements brought into the site. And on this one, we have kind of this band moving through the site. We still have a performance area on the north end with public art. Still have development parcels. We have this nice long promenade along the west side of the park. And so that would be an area for pedestrians to stroll, and there'd be coffee shops and retail establishments. And also a plaza here in the middle. There could be art installations. And then we also have a stronger connection to Union Station on this end. And here's a perspective kind of showing how this looks looking to the north. And this is the promenade along the west side. And so here's some great examples showing how we could work with the topography. We could have built-in hillsides with sculptural seating, different garden areas, introducing water into the site, so it would be just a very minimal water feature that could be turned off when not in use. And then the third concept, and the final concept, is looking at the rail heritage of Kansas City. And this is really paying homage to Union Station. So this one really opens up the access to Union Station, gives us great views this way. We have a water feature down on this end, large bosque of trees, and it's really looking at the existing line of that OK Street and where water used to be and incorporating that into the site, and also where rail lines used to be in the past. So we still have retail and other mixed-use development along the west side here, and we have a promenade and also a large lawn area that slopes down with a pedestrian bridge back to Walnut Street going over the railroad tracks. And this would be garden areas kind of banding into the site, kind of reminiscent of the High Line. And here's a perspective looking back to the west and Union Station. This, of course, also assumes that a link is gone. That was one of the things we discussed, whether there's a way to deal with the link. Here's one looking back towards Liberty Memorial. And these would be some artistic elements that could be incorporated into the site. This was maybe a style of architecture we could look at for some of the more public buildings. And here's some more public art examples, and then also small water features. And here's some great examples of those banded gardens like the High Line. So those are the three concepts. We have the ridge, the river, and the rail. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
How big is the open space where the concerts or whatever it could be?
I think that's probably about 250 feet wide by about 500 feet long.
How many people is that?
What do you think, Doug?
I'm just curious to get an idea of what we're.
It always depends on how tight you cram people in there.
In the neighborhood of in a dense,
3,000.
dense way, 3,000 to 5,000 people could fit there. I would like to add just a few.
Come up to the microphone, Rick. Yeah, please.
There's just a few things that are some other critical stakeholders that have come to the surface, which might actually become a really interesting insertion into the park. We have been talking with all the transportation systems, KCATA, Streetcar Authority, and Bike Walk KC. Each of them are in search of a future home for their administrative offices. KCATA is actually going to be moving their administrative offices out of the 18th Street location. They want a more public venue to interface with the public. And so there's an opportunity here to potentially create a multimodal transportation hub right at the southeast corner of the park, which just seems to be a perfect location with the proximity to Union Station, the streetcar line, right, and the idea being that as visitors and our own Kansas Cityans come down to this area, that they are immediately given multiple options of moving around the downtown area, and that you're not forced to simply move around in your car or pick one of the others, but we basically give them every offering available to what is eventually going to become quite an amazing little area. So I just thought it was important to kind of mention that they could be another key stakeholder.
And the current southern terminus of the streetcar is right across the Union Station. So this dark line right here, that's showing where the streetcar is going to go at the first phase, which is currently under construction. And there's going to be a stop right next to Union Station. So there'll be a crossing into the park.
Yeah, and that, we had some conversations earlier. Union Station is making some improvements on their site right now.
Right.
They received some, I believe, some state tax credits along with some public money, so their infrastructure around their building will change for better public transportation, ingress and egress. So that all kind of ties together at the same time.
What about Crown Center?
We've been in communication with them, and they're very supportive of the concept. The next step will be go back to the stakeholders and share these plans with them, and also have another public meeting in the future.
So we're just in the process, it's here first before we go do the outreach to the stakeholders.
Well, we've started the outreach. I think that you were in one of those meetings where we met with the stakeholders about
Right.
that same time. So one of our fears was that they would see this as a competitive threat, and it was exactly the opposite. They saw this as a way to support their businesses and draw people to the area,
That's what
to
I
help
thought.
people stay longer and make a weekend of visiting Crown Center.
Any costs?
We're still working on that.
Okay.
We've got some really quick back-of-the-envelope costs, but it still needs to be flushed out a little further. And that's currently underway.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
This is great. It's exciting to
It
look
is.
It's got most of the components that I think Alan and I came back from Houston looking for in those plans, and it's just going to enhance that and really make it something that's unbelievable. And the options, potential options for funding by giving people naming rights to certain aspects of the park may really help with our ability to finance it.
This has also been a great project that's grown out of a community support. Doug's worked very hard with the Green Space Committee, who's been a big supporter of this project, and Downtown Council, and we've just received great feedback from all the stakeholders so far.
I do think that the one underpinning with all this is that we wanted to get everyone together and really bring the opportunity to the city to actually create the most unique civic space in the city and a real destination. But to do so, being very cognizant of how to get it paid for, and most importantly, how to operate it in the future. And I think that is the reason, primary reason for the very complex nature of the stakeholder group, which is that we expect them and are prodding them to the table for their input, but also because we want them to be a part of this long-term and actually be able to make it a sustainable model so that it doesn't increase the burden on Parks and Rec, but actually could even ideally provide a revenue source.
Did you mention the parking garage?
Just briefly, so the parking garage could be a great source of
I
revenue.
think that's probably one of the most attractive things, and harkening back to the other projects you showed, the Millennium Park in Chicago, a big source of revenue to maintain that is the parking garage below it, right there on the Michigan Lake waterfront. The Discovery Green in Houston, same situation, has a large parking garage underneath it, which helps maintains it. We have a kind of a small example of that with Barnhouse Plaza here in the city that does that particular same thing. So again, a large parking garage, which you can build here, then that can be a public parking garage that can help maintain this.
And the other great benefit of that is too, looking at the times of day when people will be using the parking garage, residents from the residential portion would be using it in the evening, or business users would be using it in the daytime. So we really have that great mixture to kind of keep it a 24-hour parking garage.
Good work. This is.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very exciting. Next order of business, resolution number 30288. regarding-
Yes, Commissioners, this is considering approval of a swim season 4-pack. Passes to the Bay. Doug. That's you, Doug.
Short and sweet.
You thought the aquatic season was over, didn't you?
Yeah, it's never over. We've had a little increase in revenue at the Bay, and we wanted to build on the momentum we've created. And one thing we noticed was a great variance in the amount of season passes that are sold at the Springs and the Bay, going from a lot to almost none. So one thing we thought we'd do is offer a deal on the 4-pack to start out with and start some options out there for residents, and also we may approach city employees. We had a great attendance at the recent
City manager's picnic.
the picnic, the employee recognition picnic, and a lot of employees, about 746 of them, crossed into the Bay and enjoyed it. So I'm going to write a letter, a thank you for the employees participating at the Bay, and also I think we're going to give them this offer. So that's what I'd like to do. And I ask for your approval.
Okay. Any questions? All right. My only question is in terms of the pricing, how was it determined, this amount?
We just had a meeting and just decided that 200 would be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about a family pass, but.
Yeah, what's in one family, yeah, exactly.
We've kind of gone away from family passes everywhere and gone with 4 or 5 or more.
So kids can get in with an adult pass, it's just kind of, anybody can use it.
Yeah, the
Adult
kids-
being what age?
The early pass.
Over
on-
48 inches.
Yeah.
I got you.
It's height based. It's height, it's really a height,
The
yeah.
early kids pass is 55, the early adult pass is 65.
65, and then it goes up to 99 and 79 in the regular
So
season.
it's all inclusive, basically,
Yeah,
at
so
that
if
price.
you buy them now, they're $50 a piece, kids or adults.
Gotcha.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Thank you. Resolution number 30289, other fees and charges.
Yes, Commissioners, shifting over to the Community Services Division, and Roosevelt Lines has in front of you fees and charges for this upcoming fall and winter season, and there's about 3 or 4 pages in there that summarize a variety of different fees and charges, and Roosevelt will explain them to you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me. These are our fall and winter 2014, 2015 fees and charges. All of these programs have a new rate, and that's why we're asking for approval. Altogether, there are a number of programs here across the spectrum of services we provide: health and wellness, arts and crafts, group fitness, a little bit of everything. While these are just the ones that have a fee associated with them, we actually have a number of new programs this fall and winter. We have about 49 new programs. for the fall and winter, which represent about 175 new hours worth of programming at our community center. So we're really excited about that, to offer some new programming to our patrons. A lot of them are things that they have asked for. So these are the fees and charges. There is one program on here at Greg Clyce Community Center. It's the Arthritis Aquatics that we're actually going to have to go back and review. But other than that, the rest of them are all standard they are.
What is pickleball?
Pickleball. It's a very popular sport right now. A lot of seniors play it right now. It's played inside of the gym. It's got a low net, kind of like, I don't know, like a cross between badminton and tennis, kind of. Would that be right? Yeah. So very popular right now. There's actually a national organization, which I had no idea there was. So we're doing that we have a program up north at KC North, which is really popular. So.
How big is the court?
It's like half of a basketball. Yeah.
With racket?
With racket,
With what kind of ball?
ball bounces, softer
Soft,
than a
soft.
tennis ball,
Special pickleball.
special pickleball.
Regulation pickleball.
There you go.
It's not a
The thing I want to comment on is this is exactly what we promised our constituents when we got the parks levy passed, new programming in our community centers year-round. And since these are all new programs, I think this is something we've got to absolutely advertise and get out and brag about. This is fulfilling a promise. This is doing the types of things that we said we were going to do, and if we don't take advantage of it and blow our own horn on it, shame on us. Thank you very much. This is fantastic.
Yeah, this is
It
incredible
is really
going
good.
through this and seeing all the new programming, and this is what we've been talking about. This is great. Thank you.
Okay.
A lot of neat stuff.
Roosevelt, thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 30290.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a change order number 2 with the Wilson Group for a little bit of wrap-up work on 2 spray ground projects, one in Seven Oaks Park and one over at Spring Valley Park. If you have any questions, Travis is here to answer those.
All right. Any questions of Travis regarding this proposed change order? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Resolution passes. Resolution number 30291.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a change order number 1 for work Tiffany Hills Park Shelter. And as indicated in the memo from Travis, it gives you more detail as far as what's included in that particular $57,000 change order. And again, if you have any questions, he is here to answer those.
Okay, great. Any questions of Travis regarding this proposed change order? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution passes. Next, approval of gifts and contributions.
One gift from Arvest Bank for Rock the Block.
All right, excellent.
Great.
That's fantastic. Gotta be sure to send them a thank you note. Is there a motion to accept the gifts?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Director's report.
Yes, first item is major construction report. Travis?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. You find the handout in front of you on the Marlboro projects. These are 2 projects under one contract with Mega Industries, and the first project is the new parking lot or parking lot addition for the Marlboro Community Center. It's actually located behind the center near Highland Avenue, but it will not access Highland Avenue. There's been some information throughout the neighborhood over there that because of this initial clearing and so forth that you can see on this first photograph, that some of the neighbors thought that the driveway would actually go out on Highland, but it will not. It will only be accessed from the existing drive from the center itself. So some unique features about this project is that we'll have pervious pavers up on the surface to help manage stormwater and solar lighting on this. So it's, there will be terracing on the front since this will be higher than the street level, and privacy fencing on the side to keep the headlights of the vehicles out from adjacent homes, residences. The second project is about 5 blocks away over Marlboro Park, and that's the addition of a parking lot and a shelter. You'll notice on this project that there's sheet piling involved, and what that allowed us to do was minimize the area of fill that was necessary for the shelter itself, and by using sheet piling, we're able to build basically a small pad and platform for the shelter itself, and then allow the site to grade off naturally, and it minimized the footprint that we impacted on that park over there. So, any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marketing report, Heidi Downer.
Good afternoon. We are entering one of our biggest months of the year. May and September tend to be the biggest for events in our park. So just this past weekend, we had several things going on. Friday evening was the opening of the Wish Upon a Fountain art exhibit at the Buttonwood Art Gallery. Beautiful, beautiful paintings, great turnout for the reception. If you get a chance to get by there between now and the 25th, please do. If you can't, you can go online to kcfountains.com and bid on the 87 paintings of all of our beautiful fountains that are available for purchase to support the maintenance and upkeep of the fountains themselves. So that's a great partnership that we have, of course, with the City of Fountains Foundation. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we had our dog swimming parties, which were amazing this year. Our biggest year ever. Every year they do grow, and it's insanity, really. But on Saturday, we had 110 dogs at the bay, which it's doubled in every year. And this is the third year that we've had it. So that one was a little more tame than the 419 dogs that we had on Sunday at the 419.
Did it work good to have the two sizes?
It worked out great. I'm really pleased, and we had a lot of positive feedback about splitting up the small dogs with the big dogs. I think even next year we're going to need to do 2 sessions of big dogs. It's just the big dogs are so big and really like to swim. So anyway, that was a really good time. I'd like to thank the Midwest Pool staff. They did a great job of assisting us with the dogs and the people and the events. And then, of course, up north, we do it in partnership with NAWS, and they do a great job of obviously promoting it and helping. It's quite a bigger event up there with vendors and everything. So plenty of pictures online if you haven't seen the swimming parties. But we had several requests, just FYI, to open up a pool only for dogs. I think we could make some money.
Maybe that can be a part of the bark.
Yeah, if they add a little
That's right.
pool to bark.
Chips and bar.
Yeah. Anyway. Chips and, yeah, well, see, here we go. What they do a thing called chip and dip, where they microchip the dog,
Right.
and the dog can swim in the pool.
And then you have to add-
Right off the top of your head.
That is me at my finest. I'm done.
And then you got the drink to go with it.
Yeah, chip and dip and sip. Yeah, I did it. I said it first. No, I'm kidding. Anyway.
Write that down, everybody. Oh, boy.
This weekend is not really any less busy. As you guys know, we have the SWIP Soccer Village opening on Friday evening, and that is at 4:30, just down the street. It's an amazing place. If you haven't been by, it's incredible. We had the first phase of the art installation yesterday. He's completing it up today, and then, of course, you can see the entire piece. It's called, I have a mental block on the Triple Bloom?
Triple bloom.
Triple Bloom.
Yeah, soccer ball bloom,
Yeah,
basically.
it's very cool. Of course, 1% for the arts program.
Yep.
So I know that Commissioner Schrond will be there on Friday. Hopefully some of the rest of you can be there. Great. So we're looking forward to that. And then also this weekend begins the Brush Creek Art Walk, which, as you know, takes place along the banks of Brush Creek, all the way from Brush Creek Community Center down to the plaza. Artists will be painting on plein air all weekend long. This year, it's really cool. They're doing 3 quick paint events, which are really kind of sporting events for artists, you know, where they get 2 hours to come and paint in a certain area. On Friday evening, they'll be doing that at the plaza. On Saturday evening, it'll be around Brush Creek Community Center and the Spirit of Freedom Fountain. And then on Sunday evening, it'll be in Tice Park in conjunction with the concert that's going on that evening from 4 to 7, I believe. And so they've got a lot of activity. The cool thing is on Saturday night, the winning piece from the quick paint contest will be given to us, to Parks and Recreation. So we will need to hang that prominently somewhere so people can see and appreciate that painting and that event. And I want to thank Ann Garney, who's a former commissioner who really, 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 really works hard to put this event together. We'll have, it will be curated and exhibited, or juried, the artworks entries from the weekend, and they will be hung at the Bruce R. Watkins Cultural Heritage Center. And the opening reception for that is September 26th. That's a Friday evening from 5 to 7:30, and she wanted to make especially sure that you all were invited to attend that, because there will be an award ceremony as well. And then those paintings will be hung throughout the month of October and available for sale as well at the Bruce R. Watkins. So that's another great event, another artistic event that we have. And then it kind of just goes from there. We've got another concert at the Kansas City Museum. We've got WOW School in Soap Park, which is where families can come and camp out and learn all kinds of participate in all kinds of outdoor activities. Luce Park is having a garden fair for the first time this year, which is going to be a big day full of seminars and how-to educational kinds of things, as well as displays at the Garden Center. On that same day, we're doing a new event in partnership with the whole city, I guess, and the city manager's office, actually called Touch a Truck, where the kids can come out and see all the big city vehicles and touch them and learn about them and get the picture taken with them. Ride in the bucket truck?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well. And that'll be at Parade Park on that day. And I think that's from 10 to 2?
Yes.
Okay. We'll have more information on that shortly. We have that groundbreaking for the shelter parking lot that Travis talked about from Marlboro.
Done serious groundbreaking already.
Yeah.
Ceremony.
Some of these are only ceremonial.
I had a thought about the touch truck. Will there be anybody, you know, there that actually performs whatever job that necessitates the driving of this truck to talk to the kids about what they do and maybe?
Yeah, and I believe they're in their uniforms as well, which is kind of cool for kids, right, to see.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're doing that in conjunction with the Black Health Fair Council. They're going to block that one, and then it rolls in part.
Okay.
You may have noticed the teepees that are on the Nelson Atkins lawn. They're going to be kind of moving around the city, or doing more of those around the city. They're going to have some teepees in 3 of our parks. Starting, I think it's the 18th, we'll have a couple in Cafe Corner, of course, over the Plaza weekend. There'll be some in Arno Park, and then as well as Martin Luther King tennis courts there that you can see when you're driving by on 71 Highway. So just an FYI, you'll see the teepees popping up.
Well, and you might mention why they're there for Nelson, too.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. That's to promote their new exhibit, their Native American exhibit, which opens, I believe, the 24th, 25th. So it's kind of a cool promotion. They're nice-looking teepees. I think I've seen.
Anna Marie, do we have something in that collection? In the Plains Indians exhibit from our collection?
If you want to talk. We have one artifact?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know very many details about the artifact that we have in that collection, but we do have
But something from our Casey Museum collection is in that exhibit.
Yes, because we have a traveling exhibition called Pueblo to Pueblo.
Thank you.
Will there be any of that north of the river? You know, like trees or anything? I mean, that's 51% of the land area, and a lot of people that would.
They are doing agreements with other, green places that have green space.
Okay.
Not with us, but there very well might be, and I can certainly check with Tony on that to see if there is anything north of the river.
We can find some.
There's a lot of green space up there, when in visible locations. And then just as an FYI, I know you guys have been kind of hearing about us talking or working on some ordinance changes and permit fee changes with our road races, with the race coordinators. So Commissioner Judy is great for helping us out on that, and we are meeting with the race coordinators this week. We had our first meeting was that just yesterday? It felt like a longer time ago. With them yesterday, and we'll have another one on Friday to get input and feedback about what they think of us and them and the charges and the proposed changes and just how we've been handling races in general in Kansas City. Overall, they're very pleased. Our race coordinators with Eve Energy have done a great job. So it's good to hear that.
Lots going on.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. A couple awards, acknowledgements we received. We participated in the competition for the best improvements in our citizen survey, and that was presented to us out at the city manager's picnic that we talked about earlier out at the Bay, and I know that Kate and Julie were here and made a presentation on the results in the citizen survey, and Parks and Recreation had an overall 4% increase in citizen satisfaction. So we received that on that Saturday morning out at the Bay from the city manager's office.
Congratulations.
Pat ourselves on the back.
Yep. And then another event we were involved in is the Kansas City Government Procurement for Contractors, which is a exhibit hall along with an educational seminar to help a lot of the smaller contractors in the city gain their areas of expertise and knowledge in doing government contracting for the city. And we were recognized as a bronze sponsor and one of the contributors to that, and that was back on the 14th of August.
Great.
Right.
Yeah, our bus. Terry, Forrest, tell us about the bus.
He said you first.
Forrest, Terry, yeah, the bus.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough, we got a call, I think, from our fleet manager about 6 months ago that said we had received, through a grant process, an electric bus. It's 100% electric, 21-foot long, 22-passenger wraparound seating, so it's seating like you have at the airport when you go from the parking lot to the terminal, and it's accessible. So we've been trying to figure out how we can help seniors and those with limited mobility get to some of our community centers. One of the areas that we know and that the Chamber has identified is the Urban Neighborhood Initiative area. So we're going to be working with, there's 7 neighborhoods over there, and we're going to be working with them to try and identify seniors that are interested in getting to the community center but do not have transportation and aren't mobile enough to get to bus stops. So we're going to create a route, and that's going to be our first use of it, and then see how that goes and try and expand on that.
How many of our community centers are voting precincts?
All except Line Creek and Garrison.
8.
So, yeah. So, yeah, that's another great idea of, and truthfully, it can't go on the highway, it can go up to 40 miles an hour, and it goes 100 miles between charge-ups. So, it'll be nice to see what else we can do with it. It is like I say, it's handicap accessible and has a low entry, so excited to have it for free. And it will be wrapped. Heidi has done the design on that, and not sure what the timing is on that. But I'll ask her to step up to the microphone.
We have several design concepts. We're tweaking one right now, and then it'll take a couple weeks to get it wrapped, but it'll be cool.
Interesting.
Great. It's exciting. All right, we want to do a quick, I don't think there's anybody on the public hearing. And let's look at the calendars.
Yeah, looking at the remainder of the month of September, the Platte County Partners Lunch tomorrow. Heidi made a reference, of course, to the meeting, or the dedication of the soccer village on Friday. The Starlight Board meeting on the 18th. I might mention, I think Carmen sent out an email, our next board meeting the 23rd. We've got about a 90-minute presentation on our Boulevard and Parkway standards. So we hope to get started at 12:30. So I guess Carmen, come at noon for lunch, or I guess, or eat and listen, I guess, one way or the other. But anyway, we do want to get started at 12:30. We've got outside guests to kind of work through that with Denise and Travis and Patty, Noel and Patty Banks are part of that presentation. And then the Marlboro shelter groundbreaking, made reference earlier by Travis and Heidi. And then Carmen did put together calendars for the remainder in months of the year, October, November, and December, to kind of lay out the schedule for the next 4 months, and hopefully our schedules will allow for those meetings to occur as planned. One thing I just looking at, water fire, remind me, Heidi, that's on here too, isn't it? That's coming up on the 10th or 11th, or?
It's actually, water fire has been expanded to 2 days this
Oh,
year, and it will be that Friday evening.
10th?
10th, Saturday the
Yeah,
11th?
it's 10 and 11.
10 and 11?
Okay.
Uh-huh, and with a rain date of Sunday if one of those days rains out.
Okay.
That's it.
Excellent.
Is that correct on the Friends of the Zoo? That's usually a different day than our board meeting, is that
The
right?
23rd of September, is that Friends of the Zoo, Carmen?
Yeah,
Just having a Tuesday now? Okay.
As opposed to a,
It's usually like a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We ran
Just
into
make
that
sure.
one time last year, too.
Just think they change it once a year.
Mhm.
We're also having that Brew at the Zoo and Wine Too event.
Yeah.
Because I invited some, we've got a group of friends that want to go.
You sound like Dr. Seuss.
I'm almost as good at rhyming as our friend Heidi. It's the 18th.
that's the 18th? One thing I might point out too, and I'm glad you mentioned Friends of the Zoo, if you look at the October, you're back on a Wednesday, but it's also at 5:30, that's their annual meeting. And that's a little different than their regular meetings, because they know they like to get as many Friends of the Zoo members. I mean, theoretically, that's 20,000 people, but they're not all going to show up, but they always do it in the auditorium. And they also have a little bit more programs associated with that, so it's like a presentation plus a meeting. And there again, that's 5:30 on the 22nd of October.
Good enough.
All right.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, with that, meeting is adjourned.